If you click to watch this, you may be in a stressful relationship, or maybe you know someone who is. I too stayed in a bad relationship for way too long, and I learned the hard way how to deal with such relationships. It's difficult to know what to do when you are in this situation, because staying in a bad relationship feels like sitting in water that is slowly getting hot. At first, it will be fine. You are enjoying the warmth, and even when you feel a little sting, you give excuses for them. But then it starts getting uncomfortable. And before long, it starts to hurt. But because it's happening little by little, you keep adjusting instead of getting out. You told yourself it wasn't that bad. You told yourself you could handle it. And by the time you realized how much it was burning you, you had been there for years. And one day you look up and think, wait, how did I spend this long here? Listen, if you're asking yourself why you're still in that relationship even though you know it's hurting you, this video is for you. I want to talk about what really keeps people sitting in that hot water. I want to talk about why leaving feels harder than staying, and what helped me finally step out without hating myself for staying too long. And listen, I'm not here to insult you. I'm not here to call you weak. I'm not here to say, if it was me, I would leave. That line is cheap. It sounds good on the internet, but it does not help anyone in real life. I want to help you understand you. Because when you understand you stop feeling stupid and used and confused. Instead, you start making better choices. Now let me be honest. I've been there. I stayed longer than I should have. I made excuses. I defended nonsense. I told myself stories. I explained away things that should have made me stop and think. There were days I went to bed confused. There were days I told myself, tomorrow will be better. There were days I cried, wiped my face, and still went back like nothing happened. And I want to say this clearly. If you stayed too long, it does not mean you are dumb. It means you are human. It means your brain was trying to protect you the best way it knew how. Psychology explains it too. Leaving is difficult because leaving is not just a decision. Leaving is a shock to your system. Leaving means you have to accept the truth. And the truth hurts. So, your brain does something very interesting. Your brain hates sudden pain, but it can tolerate slow pain. Slow pain feels normal, but sudden pain feels scary. And that's why people stay. Because staying feels familiar. And leaving feels like jumping into the unknown, even when the known is hurting you. It's just like you're sitting in hot water and your brain is like, at least we know this water. We know how it burns. We know how to sit. We know how to survive. If we jump out, what if we freeze outside? So you stay and you keep adjusting. You tell yourself, let me just try one more time. And you don't even notice that you keep moving the goalpost. There was a time you said, I will never accept this. Then it happens, and you say, okay, maybe just this once. Then it happens again, and you say, okay, this one was my fault. Then it happens again, and you say, okay, at least they apologized. Then it happens again, and you say, okay, maybe I triggered them. Now your standards are on the floor, but you don't see it. Because it happened slowly. Now, let's talk about value for a little bit, because this is one of the biggest reasons people stay. Sometimes we have experiences in life that hurt, and they can make us feel less like people. It can feel dehumanizing, and you look around and you see other people being treated with care and respect, and somehow you're not getting that. And that hurts so much that your mind has to come up with a reason why. Because the idea that maybe I'm not worth being treated well is too painful. So your mind says, no, that can't be it. And then it starts building excuses. You start rationalizing and justifying the person's behavior, not because you are blind, but because you are protecting your sense of value. You're trying to make it make sense. So you say things like, they're stressed. They had a hard childhood. They didn't mean it like that. They're going through a lot right now. It's my fault too. And sometimes you sound so convincing, you can win an award. Some of us have a full PhD in excuses. You can stand in front of a crowd and defend the person like a lawyer. And the wild part is, you're not even lying. That person might actually be stressed. They might actually have trauma. They might actually have problems. But that in itself is a trap. Because when you excuse everything, nobody is wrong. And when nobody is wrong, nobody changes. And when there is no change, well, now you're stuck. Because at the end of the day, you are still getting hurt. But you keep covering the truth with excuses, and you start living two lives. One life where you know it hurts, and one life where you pretend it doesn't. And that's exhausting. It messes with your mind, and that's where you start getting trust issues. That's where you start doubting yourself. That's where you start feeling like relationships are confusing, because you keep swallowing things you should speak about. Your partner may even be taking advantage of you. Then, what about the forgiveness trap? Because people always say, just forgive, but they don't tell you what forgiveness actually needs. Forgiveness needs someone to have done something wrong. If you keep telling yourself nobody did anything wrong, what exactly are you forgiving? If you keep saying, it's not their fault, then there is nothing to forgive. So, you can't move on. You're stuck. And this becomes even stronger when you love the person. Because the more you love someone, the harder it is to accept that they hurt you. Because that hurts way more. So, the more you love them, the more you make excuses. The more you make excuses, the more it isn't their fault. The more it isn't their fault, the more you stay. If you don't hold the bad thing they do as a bad thing, you can't heal. Another week goes by. They do it again. Another excuse. No responsibility. No change. Your heart builds up pain, but you still say, I'm just trying to be understanding. I want to be very clear here. Understanding someone is not the same as accepting mistreatment. Empathy is not a permission slip. You can understand why someone behaves badly and still choose not to be around it. Some people stay in these hurtful relationships because they grew up in chaos. So, peace feels strange. If you grew up in a home where love came with shouting, insults, cold silent treatment, or constant drama, your brain can start linking chaos to love. So later in life, calm feels boring, and drama feels like home, simply because your brain recognizes the pattern. It says, oh, this feels familiar. This must be love. So, you end up drawn to people who activate old wounds. And then you call it chemistry. Meanwhile, it's your nervous system doing a throwback. And leaving them feels too hard. Honestly, I don't blame you. Because leaving is not just leaving a person. Sometimes leaving feels like leaving a whole identity. It feels like letting go of hope. Because you tell yourself, if I can fix this, it means I win. It means I healed something. It means I proved I'm lovable. It means I proved love can change someone. So, you stay in the ring. You keep swinging. You keep trying. Because quitting feels like failure. And I get it. Especially if you are someone who fights for everything. You don't like giving up. But hear me. Not everything is meant to be fought for. Some things are meant to be left. Now, there's also the investment trap which may be keeping you in that relationship. You've put in years, money, energy, tears. You built memories. You met families. You shared secrets. You planned a future. So, leaving feels like throwing away your life. But the truth is, staying can waste even more. And you don't see that. And your future deserves more than at least. At least they don't cheat. At least they come home. At least they provide. At least they apologize. At least. At least. At least. You didn't come to this life to live on at least. Okay, enough of why you haven't left so far. Now, I want to shift into what actually helps. Because I don't want to leave you with pain only. I want to give you a way forward. And it starts with 3 simple moves. Simple. Not easy, but simple. Number 1. Call it what it is. Stop softening the truth. Stop cleaning it up so it sounds nicer. Stop saying, they're just intense. Stop saying, that's just how they are. Say the real thing. This hurts me. That was disrespect. That was cruel. That was not okay. Because if you can't name it, you can't change it. Number 2. Hold people responsible. Love does not mean silence. You can love someone and still say, that wasn't okay. You can say, I care about you, but what you did hurt me. And watch this. When you start holding someone responsible, you get clarity fast, because a healthy person will listen. A healthy person will try. A healthy person will own it. But a person who enjoys power will get angry when you name the truth. That reaction tells you a lot. Number 3, forgive yourself. This is the part most people skip. People beat themselves up for staying. They say, I'm so stupid. I wasted years. How did I allow this? Listen, you stayed because you were surviving. You stayed because you hoped. You stayed because you loved. You stayed because your brain kept choosing the safest option it could see at the time. So, forgive yourself. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a close friend. You would not scream at your friend and say, you're dumb for staying. You would say, I get it. You were trying. You didn't want to lose what you built. You were scared. Give yourself that same kindness. Assign responsibility where it belongs. And then forgive yourself for being human. Because when you forgive yourself, shame loses power. And when shame loses power, you make better choices. Now, one more thing. If you are in a relationship where there is physical abuse, threats, or real danger, please get help immediately. Tell someone you trust. Reach out to local support services. Do not wait for things to get better. Your safety matters. And for everyone else who feels stuck, but not because you are weak, because you are tired and confused, I want to end with this. If you're still in that water, I'm not judging you. I've been there. But you deserve peace, not just patience. You don't have to drown to prove you tried. If this video hit you, share it with someone who needs it. And if you want, drop one word in the comments. Just one. Water. So, I know you understood exactly what I meant, and I'll see you in the next one.